Folks, welcome back. My name is Alex. This is Nostalgianomics. Today we're going to answer that one burning question that's always on everybody's mind. What is the best Pokemon product that I can invest in? And I'm going to do my best to break this all down and be as detailed as possible. And you guys can let me know what you think in the comments afterwards. So let's start out by the first metric we can talk about. What is the cheapest price per pack that you can find in a particular item? Now, unfortunately, in this market we're in now, all the price points are all jumbled up and everyone's trying to find what the new retail price should be. We're not talking MSRP, guys. In English, MSRP means squat. Booster boxes are not going to be listed at $161. That's not going to be the new norm. So all I can do is really talk about how this market was before everything went haywire and how it likely may go back to afterwards. But before everything went crazy, booster boxes used to be able to be found on the open market, eBay, TCG Player, your local LGS websites, whatever it may be, for around $100. Now, when you divide a booster box divided by 36 packs, you usually would get the lowest price per pack entry point out of any product. The reason this is because almost every other product was attached to another gimmick that Pokemon would value higher, right? So with an ETB, right? You only got 9 packs in Scarlet and Violet, but you got a promo card, you got some sleeves, some dividers, some dice, some coins. And so when you throw all that in there, they would sell the product higher because they would have to assign a value to all those things. And sometimes the promo card's valuable, sometimes it's not, but it definitely made the pack price more expensive, right? Now, if you got lucky and the promo was very valuable, well, then the pack price would go down and maybe you could get in the packs cheaper than booster boxes after you sell off all the extras. But if you're just looking for packs, booster boxes were still king. And then you get into the collection boxes and tins and mini tins and all these other products, right? They all have some sort of gimmick attached to it, whether it be a promo card or a pin or a coin or whatever else they want to throw in there that always upped the value, right? Upped the price point that made the actual packs more expensive. It wasn't until booster bundles were released where they finally had a product that had no other fluff attached to it and was just the packs. But the booster bundle, you're still paying for convenience usually. So if you took the normal retail price, again, not the MSRP, not what you see on Pokemon Center, which is like, I don't know, 20 something dollars. Usually the MSR or the regular retail price was about $19.99. About $20 is where you usually found those. However, when you divide $20 by the 6 packs inside, booster boxes still came out ahead of their old retail price, around $100, of being the cheapest price per pack. Nowadays, with booster boxes going up, I don't know what all the retail price looks like for the other items or the booster bundles. It's hard to tell. Maybe some of those other things have eclipsed the booster box and the lowest price per pack. But up until, recently, the booster box has been the lowest price per pack. Now, the booster box also has something else going for it. It's got collectability. Now, say what you want about all the other products. I understand that everyone can, collect what they like and other people have collections built of all different things. But when we talk in these terms, we have to talk in generalities. Generally, booster boxes are the most transacted item amongst collectors, amongst the secondary market. I'm not saying they're the most transacted items. That'd be things like ETBs, now probably bundles, some of these other things that are, Pokemon throws out to all the retail stores and, they want to print the most of those kind of items so that everyone can sell those because they meet lower price points where the average consumer can afford, like ETBs, like booster bundles, like collection boxes. But on the secondary market, the thing that the majority of collectors and investors want, it's always been booster boxes. In my opinion, it's always going to be booster boxes. Those have always and probably will always be the most liquid thing in the hobby and the most sought after thing in the hobby. And because of that, usually over time, you always see a premium attached to booster boxes. And so as the prices rise and as the reprints and restocks stop coming and we get 2, 3, 4, 5 years into the age of the box, you'll see the booster boxes now sell at a very high premium and the price per pack will actually be higher than what the other products are. This is where the whole investment can change, and you could actually make the argument that some of these other items are actually better pickups because maybe they're now undervalued, where maybe some of the other products that have more packs like the booster box are a little overvalued, or maybe they're becoming properly valued, and some of these other things with the booster packs may catch up at a certain rate because eventually streamers and pack openers are going to want things to open, and they're no longer going to open the booster boxes because those are becoming scarce. Those are becoming valued more like a collectible in and of themselves, and not just like a product that you can open for a cheapest price per pack. And so once that time comes and the booster box becomes the collectible and that they become scarce and people start to value them differently, then you could actually make the argument to go back to some of these other products and buy into them, but only after the booster box ages and it doesn't become worth it to buy to open packs anymore. And so that's where the questions always, start to overlap, is people will ask me about what the best item is to buy. And I have to always say it depends on the time. Because if you ask me what the best thing to buy on like a set, like, I don't know, Evolving Skies, that could change in every point along its life cycle. In the beginning, it's the booster box. Maybe the booster box goes through a massive run and the loose packs or the blisters or the ETBs haven't caught up yet. Well, now those things may be undervalued and due for a run themselves. Then after those go on a run, well, now maybe those are a little overvalued. The booster box is going to go on another run. And so it's always changing. You have to remain fluid in the hobby. If you're buying in at the release and you can find things all around the same, retail prices, whether, the retail of everything goes up and booster boxes are now selling for $120, $130, but then the bundles and the ETBs are all selling higher too. It's all relative, as long as everything stays relative. Now, if the booster boxes are the only things that are getting pumped up at release now and everything else you can still find at regular retail price, then you can make the argument, maybe I buy into bundles or something like that. Now, the only thing that throws a wrench in this whole system is not a regular retail product. It's not sold by distributors to stores. It's not sold in any of the big box stores. No one has this product, and that is the PCETBs. Those are the new kid on the block that have come along in the, middle to end of the Sword and Shield era. And they become very sought after in the Scarlet Violet era since they have that exclusive stamp promo card from Pokemon Center. And because of that, they have ended up becoming the best investment overall in the Scarlet Violet era. Now, it's unlikely, or not unlikely, but it's unsure how that is going to end up performing long term. It's unsure if that's just kind of a flash in the pan, and a lot of this hype and hysteria is going to wear off, and in 3 to 5 years, the booster boxes are going to still reign supreme and continue to run, and the PCETBs will kind of level off at some point, because at the end of the day, there's only 11 packs in there. You're paying for 11 packs. We've seen a lot of the other ETBs that are very expensive, not PCETBs, but the very expensive ones back in Black and White, X, Y, and Sun and Moon, really start to level off. The sales really start to decline. The liquidity becomes an issue once they get to those high price points, because at that point, it's just the collector's market. Nobody is buying any of those to open because there's no packs inside. There's 8, 10, 11 packs inside. And so the thing with booster boxes is you have that collectible value, but you also have that opening value, where with booster boxes, there's somewhat of a guaranteed hit rate that you have in them. It's always within a range, but it's more guaranteed than other products. And so there's always a reason to open a lot of booster boxes, where there becomes really no reason to ever open a PCETB unless, the graded value of that card is so high in a PSA 10, so people are chasing that card, but the packs are never going to be worth it. And so it's unclear if there's going to be price points where those start to level out, and over time, the booster boxes do eclipse them again and become the best percentage gain. But right now, the PCTBs in the Scarlet Violet era have taken over. In Sword and Shield era, it's still about the booster boxes. So that's something we're all trying to figure out together. And I don't have the answer to that. We're only all going to find out in the years to come. But it does seem that the PCTBs, if you can find them at retail price, retail on those on Pokemon Center is $59.99. So if you can find them at that price or anywhere close to that price, it does seem like that may be the best pickup going forward in Scarlet Violet era. It's unclear though. So if you're asking me if I had to break all this down, booster boxes or PCETBs, those are the items that you want to buy if you want to invest in this stuff. PCTBs have some limitations because Pokemon does limit the order to 4. With some of the newer sets, they've taken it down to 2, even 1. And so people try to get around that by opening multiple accounts or trying to check out as guests and trying to get as many orders as they can, order to multiple addresses with different names and credit cards. It's a crazy system. Whereas booster boxes, it's much easier to acquire large quantities. So that's another benefit that you have going booster boxes. But you can definitely make the PCTBs definitely part of your investment if you can't get enough money in them to make them all. And also, again, The other downside of PCTBs is liquidity in the future. It's unclear how the liquidity is going to look. We've seen long track records of booster boxes once they get into the 3, 5, 700, 1,000 plus range, still having a good level of liquidity because we've had years and years and years of that data. There isn't any data of PCTBs over long periods of time yet, so that's still unclear. But with booster boxes, they still remain over a long period of time one of the most, if not the most liquid thing in the hobby. And so that is why I mainly stick to booster boxes. I have added in PCTBs. I have added in UPCs because UPCs have done very well historically based on, what promos are in there and the pack selection, things like that. So you kind of got to play some nuance game there, especially with the price point. Again, the price point matters, guys. With all this stuff, price point matters. When Charizard UPCs, right? Yeah, it's a famous one I've talked about. When they were released, they went sky high. I said, this isn't a good investment. And then they had massive reprints. They came down to $80. I said, hey, this is a good investment. People say, Alex, you're flip-flopping. No, I'm not flip-flopping. The price point matters, right? If, let's say, Surging Sparks booster boxes go to $200, but the booster bundles are still sitting at the regular retail price of $19.99, I'm going to say that's the best investment, right? Or PCTBs are still, in stock online. I'm going to say that's the best investment. Now, if booster boxes drop to $100, I'm going to say, no, guys, booster boxes are now the best investment again. And so it just depends on the life cycle. It depends on the price points. There's no one answer for every life cycle, every year of that set's life. It's always changing. The last thing to talk about is really singles and graded cards. I do not consider either one of those good investments. They're good speculations, in my opinion. The reason I say that is they're the most volatile. The reason I like sealed product is it's very easy to predict, right? 100% of booster boxes have went up in Pokemon over time. All kind of crazy stuff happens in the first 1, 2, 3 years, reprints, restocks, and news cycles, everyone's up and down and all this stuff. But over time, over that 3, 5, 7+ year period, we've always seen the products rise in value. And so it's very easy to predict. It's just about, how much time you want to hold them for and what kind of gains you're looking for. Not every product's going to have the same amount of gains, but we've seen history has shown us that you are always going to see gains in the sealed booster boxes over time. Whereas singles, you can't say that, right? Some singles are up, some are down, some spike, some crash, some go stagnant for years. And one thing I can say about singles is if you're a gambler, if you want to play the market, if you want to try to speculate, you can see much higher gains in singles and slabs than you can in booster boxes. However, you will also see much further downturns in singles and slabs than you will in booster boxes. The truth is, after the first 2 to 3 years, booster boxes usually see very little downturn. The most you see, unless there's an event of a major, spike and a major crash, you might see 5, 10%, sometimes 15 on a high end downturns when the booster boxes are in their down cycle of their lifespans. But you don't see that with singles. Singles and slabs, they can spike up 100%. They can go down 50%. They can go stagnant for years. They can do all kinds of crazy things. And so that's the reason I don't like to play singles and slabs long term. What I do with singles and slabs are, I wait until they've had all kind of crazy spikes and downs. I go after the popular Pokemon, the popular species, the more liquid cards. I like to buy when no one else is looking at them. And then I sell into the strength. When everyone else all the attention comes back to them, I sell into the strength. I realize my gains, and then I look for other areas of the market where no one's looking at those singles, but they were really popular in the past. I move my money into those, hold them for a short period of time. It could be a few months. It could be a couple years, but it's still a short period of time relative to investing. And so that's how I play the single and slab market. I'm not saying that you can't give me examples of how your slab or your single has outperformed some booster boxes, but as an average, if you were to buy like all the top hit singles and all the top slabs in every era, on average, you're going to do much better putting your money in sealed product. It's going to be a much safer play. And so that's why I stick to sealed product. And so hopefully that's a good comprehensive, understanding of how this whole hobby works. It's ever changing. The best thing to buy is ever changing, but at release, as long as booster boxes are still usually the lowest, if not one of the lowest price per pack, that's usually always going to be your best bet long term. Other opportunities will always arise in products based on reprints and restocks. And as the booster boxes rise, this new PCETB craze, that's obviously looking like the best play in Scarlet and Violet right now. But as far as the longest term tried and true method, I stick with booster boxes. And that's how I see it right now. That can always change. We will see how things progress as the years come in the Pokemon hobby. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you did. Subscribe if you're not, and I'll be back here in a new one soon. I'm out.